Welcome to Those Were the Days. I'm the library archivist Nancy Martin. Today we'll continue our discussion of Peters Township schools, focusing on the high school and elementary schools built from the middle of the 20th century until today. I realized after last month's presentation that I talked a lot about Peters Township school buildings, but not so much about the people who worked there, and I wanted to remedy that this month. I'm certain to have left out someone you would have liked to have heard some information about, but I've decided to touch briefly on the contributions of just four individuals, and they are H.S. Cooter, Esther Baird, E. Paul Day, and Howard Jack. Before we get into today's discussion, I wanted to revisit some things that came up last month that I now have more information about. Terry McLaughlin, whose family goes back generations in Peters Township, saw my Facebook post on a trip down memory lane advertising the upcoming schools program and reached out to me via email. She came in last week to show me some historical items she has relating to township schools, and I wanted to share a few of them with you. At an estate sale, Terry purchased 5 of these reports entitled The School Annual about the schools of Washington County, PA, dating from 1920 to 1925. The reports provide a wealth of information about Peters Township schools. Each annual report includes the following statistics for each district: the number of male and female teachers, the number of months taught, the number of male and female pupils, average daily attendance, the number of mills for school tax, the assessed value of the assessed value of total property in the district, the amount of tax collected, state appropriation, total receipts, teachers' wages, amount of money spent on textbooks and supplies, and total expenditures. So in 1920, there was one male teacher and 10 female teachers in Peters Township. School lasted for 8 months. There were 191 male pupils and 177 female ones. Average daily attendance was 282, which is about 100 students less than total enrollment, but this likely wasn't uncommon in a farming community where children would often have had to miss school to help with farm work. The millage was 3.5. Teachers' wages totaled about $8,800. $473 were spent on textbooks and $862 on supplies. The total expenditure for the Peters Township School District in 1920 was $15,094.33. Comparing the 1920 statistics with the 2024 to 2025 school year ones, you'll see that the number of students in the district increased tenfold from 378 to 3,977. The millage increased about 5 times from 3.55 to 15.66. Teachers' wages increased 5,000-fold from about $8,800 to almost $50 million, and total expenditures increased 5,000-fold from just a smidge over 15,000 to $83 million. The annual county reports also list the names, positions, qualifications, and salaries of each teacher in each school district. You can see here that in 1920 there were 14 teachers and principals in Peters Township. J.V. Leach was the high school principal and earned a salary of $200 per year. Rose Telbin taught at the Hackett School and earned $115 annually. The letters NC after her name stand for Normal Certificate, which is what you would have gotten from a teacher's college at the time. Esther Baird, and we'll talk more about her later, taught at Pleasant Valley School for $125 a year. The reports also list the names of the school directors for each district. Here we see that Peters had 5 school directors in 1920. The numbers that precede the names of Mr. McCombs and Mr. Patterson indicate the year that their term as school director will expire, so 1925 and 1923. We talked briefly last month about Turkey Foot School, and I admitted I could find very little information about it. The people who attended the program were able to tell me that the old school building still stands at the intersection of Turkey Foot and Churchill Roads and is now a house. I have since driven past it and seen it, so thank you for that. I also wanted to share this photograph that Terry McLaughlin shared with me, and it's of the Turkey Foot School after it was converted to a house, but before it was covered in siding. Here you can see it covered in insel brick, and Terry told me that for most of her life, this is how that building looked. Going back even further, Terry shared a couple of wonderful photos that were taken at Turkey Foot School. Here we have a photograph taken during the 1915 to 16 school year, in which the students convinced the teacher to allow them to build a tennis court on the grounds of Turkey Foot School, which is the schoolhouse you see in the background. According to information written on the back of the photo, it documents a doubles match on the new court. Terry's ancestor, Olive Zimmerman, born in 1903, is one of the players shown here. And this photograph, also taken during the 1915 to 16 school year, but from the opposite end of the court, is of a singles match. Olive Zimmerman was not only a student and tennis player at Turkey Foot School, she also taught there in 1923, for which she was paid $90. Here's her framed teaching agreement. I wanted to share all of this new information with all of you because I think it underscores how important these programs are in reaching members of the community who may have information about the history of the township that we are lacking, and they can help us fill in some blanks. So thank you very much to Terry. Okay, on to today's topic. From 1902 until 1904, before a high school was constructed in Peters, the township rented a house from Hervey McMurray to serve as its high school building. School was held for only half of a day, and no transportation was provided. The building was located a quarter of a mile east of the McMurray Supply Company, which I believe sat on Valley Brook Road, just east of the McMurray House at the corner of McMurray and Valley Brook Roads. This image showing that house and the high school's principal, H.S. Cooter, is from the 50th anniversary program of Peters Township High School, celebrated in 1952. H.S. Cooter was the sole high school teacher in Peters Township from 1902 until 1913. In this 1914 photograph, Cooter can be seen at the far right of the back row. In 1913, Harvey McMurray Matthews, seen at the bottom right, was hired as a second teacher, and Cooter began spending half of his time supervising the township's elementary schools. By 1914, the high school had moved from half-day to full-day classes, and both men were required full-time at the high school. By 1916, Cooter was serving as assistant county superintendent of schools. Unfortunately, he resigned his position in December of 1916, citing his wife's poor health. The township's first purpose-built high school opened in 1904. It consisted of not one, but two rooms separated by folding doors. In 1921, a four-year high school program replaced the three-year one. This building served as the township high school until 1929. And here is that former high school as it looks today. It's a private residence. You can see it on Bebout Road, just past the Bebout Valley Brook roundabout. If you pass under the underpass, you can see the house on the left. And here we have one of my favorite documents relating to Peters Township High School, Elizabeth Douglas's character book from 1921. Here you can see the book's cover page. Each entry in the book recorded the name, address, date, place, boyfriend or girlfriend, favorite book, song, confectionery, and edible, most cherished possession, greatest fear, my favorite answer for which is snakes and men, highest ambition, best place ever visited, where I long to go, who I want to go along with, i.e., accompany them, telephone line and number, age, and birthday. This is 15-year-old Ruth Edgar's entry from February 16th, 1921. In the boyfriend field, Ruth Coyley writes, "Ask someone who knows." Her most cherished possession is her wristwatch. Her greatest fear is the devil, and her highest ambition is to run a Ford. The character book has been digitized and is available online on Pennsylvania Photos and Documents. If you want to read more entries, and I guarantee they are an entertaining read, just visit the archives webpage at ptlibrary.org/archives and scroll down until you see the link for Pennsylvania Photos and Documents. I have to say, just thinking of that two-room white clapboard school and then imagining Ruth filling out this book there, I love it. The new brick Peters Township High School opened in 1930. It had 8 rooms and a combined auditorium and gymnasium. The building was added onto and used until 1968 when the new Peters Township High School opened on East McMurray Road on land formerly owned by J. Elmer Johnston. Esther Baird was a longtime and beloved Peters Township High School English, French, and journalism teacher. She also served as a guidance counselor. Baird, born in 1898, attended Peters Township's original Pleasant Valley School, graduated from Canonsburg High School in 1916, and taught at Bower Hill and Pleasant Valley schools for several years before she went to college. In 1944, Baird began teaching at Peters Township High School. The 1951 Ember, the Peters Township High School yearbook, was dedicated to Miss Baird. Senior Lois McGee wrote a poem in Baird's honor that began with the lines, "To you, Miss Baird, we dedicate the Book of 51, to show to you the thanks we owe for all that you have done." Miss Baird retired during the summer of 1955, but continued to substitute teach in Peters Township and Canon-McMillan. Miss Baird died on June 1st, 1995, at the age of 97. In her will, she left more than $25,000 to the Peters Township School District and requested that the interest on it be used to provide an academic scholarship for a graduating senior each year. E. Paul Day accepted a teaching job at Peters Township High School in 1935 and soon became the school's principal. In 1940, the Indiana Gazette, Indiana PA Gazette, reported that 800 students of the 4 Peters Township schools were, quote, enjoying an unexpected vacation. Principal E. Paul Day, citing 10 cases of scarlet fever in the district, had ordered the schools closed for a week to prevent the spread of disease. In 1949, after serving as principal of the high school for 15 years, Day was elected to the newly created position of supervising principal for the school district. Day announced his retirement in 1958. He passed away in 1983, but his memory lives on at the high school, where the National Honor Society is known as the E. Paul Day National Honor Society. Here we have an image of the construction of the Peters Township Middle School between 1987 and 1988. This is the building that today serves as the intermediate unit. This school was built on the site of the former brick Peters Township High School. And here's a photograph of McMurray Elementary School in 1949 during its construction. The school for children in grades 1 through 6 operated from 1950 until 1984, when it was closed due to damage caused by mine subsidence. I mentioned in last month's presentation that there were 9 schools in the township in 1900. By 1950, there were only 3: Venetia Graded School, Peters Township High School, and McMurray Elementary. Here we have a photograph of the McMurray Elementary School cafeteria circa 1950. It appears that at least some of the teachers ate their lunches with the students. Elm Grove School opened on Thompsonville Road in 1959. It had 310 students, 15 rooms, and taught children in grades 1 through 6. It was torn down in the 1990s because of damage caused by mine subsidence. The land where the school once stood is now Elm Grove Park. For a while in the 1990s, between 1990 and 1993, Tony Sulkowski served as principal at both Elm Grove and Venetia schools. In fact, Tony was the final principal at both of those schools. She told me about the speeding ticket she'd get driving back and forth between the Elm Grove and Venetia buildings. I hope the school district paid the tab. In the early 1960s, the district purchased the 90-acre farm of J. Elmer Johnston on East McMurray Road for future school construction. In order to make room for the new elementary and high schools, the Peters Township Fire Company undertook the deliberate burning of the Sproul's home on the Johnston farm. You may have seen this photo before. We talked about it during our discussion of township farms and the farm fair a few months back. Something we didn't really cover in our conversation about Donaldson's Crossroads was the fact that part of the shopping center was once used as classrooms. It was reported in April of 1963 that school district solicitor Reed Day had been authorized to enter into an agreement with Carlo Teodori to provide space for 8 classrooms in the shopping center. Annual rental for the 6,400 square feet of space was $10,000, which did not include utilities or maintenance costs. Prior to entering into this agreement, Dr. J. Edward Reichart, supervising principal, had been instructed to investigate the possibility of using township churches to house students. Apparently, none was suitable. There would be no cafeteria at the Crossroads School, so students were instructed to bring bag lunches. I've been told that the classrooms were at the crossroads for less than a year and that they were located up above the Crest Theater. Here we have the new and improved Pleasant Valley Elementary School that was built on the Johnston farm between 1963 and 1964. This photo is of the school's north elevation and was taken by Robert T. Schmidt Photography circa 1963. The school began limited operation in January of 1964 when the 8 classes at Donaldson's Crossroads were transferred there. The new building consisted of 3 wings and 25 classrooms. The 3 wings can be seen in this aerial photograph from 1964. Tony Silkowski told me there was a local joke that went, "What has 3 wings but cannot fly?" And the answer, of course, was Pleasant Valley Elementary. Dr. Howard Jack was another highly respected member of the Peters Township School District. Dr. Jack became the superintendent of the district in 1965 and served in that position until his retirement in 1983. Prior to an October 1965 Peters Township School Board meeting, the position of superintendent had been known as supervising principal. The archives is lucky that Dr. Jack was one of the Peters Township residents who was interviewed about their life as part of the Life in Peters Township Oral History Project in 2003. Jack's accomplishment for Peters Township School District include overseeing the challenge of ensuring the completion of the new Peters Township High School when the general contractor working on the project declared bankruptcy weeks before the school was due to open, advocating for the creation of an area vocational technical school, the Western Area Vocational Technical School, now known as the Western Area Career and Technology Center, opened in 1971 and continues operating today. Jack also oversaw the shuttering of Peters Township Middle School in the institution of 2 shifts at the high school in either 1976 or 1977 during a natural gas crisis. There wasn't enough natural gas available to heat both Peters Township High School and the middle school, so the district shifted all the students to the high school and operated on 2 shifts each day, one from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and another from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Dr. Jack passed away in July of 2008 at the age of 85, and the Washington County Community Foundation, of which Jack was a founding trustee and past chairman, established the Dr. Howard Jack Outstanding Public Educator Award in his honor. The award recognizes a local public educator who has displayed the ability to inspire children from all backgrounds and abilities, who has earned the respect of colleagues, students, and parents, and who is actively engaged in the community. The description sounds very much like Dr. Jack himself. In December of 1966, the school district held the groundbreaking ceremony for the new Peters Township High School located on the former Johnston Farm beside Pleasant Valley School. Students moved into the building in 1968 and it was dedicated in 1969. The photos seen here were taken by the Peters Township Municipal Government in the 1980s. It is now the Peters Township Middle School. The third McMurray Elementary School opened in 1993. There was first the one-room schoolhouse out on Thomas Road. There was then the building on East McMurray, which is now the Township School District Administration Building, and finally, this McMurray Elementary School. Here's a photo of the cover of the school's dedication program from October 16th, 93. 6 additional classrooms and an auxiliary gym were added to the building in 2004-2005, so only 11 or 12 years after the school's construction. It currently houses grades 4 and 5. Bower Hill Elementary School opened in 1999 on the same street as the original one-room Bower or Bower Hill School. Tony Sulkowski was the first principal at both the new McMurray Elementary School when it opened in 1993, and then of Bower Hill Elementary when it opened in 1999. So she oversaw the opening of 2 brand new elementary schools in Peters. In June of 1998, the afternoon kindergarten class at McMurray Elementary School created a book full of suggestions for amenities the new Bower Hill School should include. Here's one of their ideas: that they thought the new school should have moving steps, Another suggestion that I appreciated was a student who asked that the school have a nursery so her brother could attend. The newest, the new Peters Township High School opened in January of 2021. It was built on East McMurray Road on the site of the former Rolling Hills Country Club. That's it for me. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you'll join me again on Thursday, July 10th, when we will talk about the village of Hackett.